Chapter 2. First Surfboard. Exterior, parking lot, day. A Pontiac Bonneville pulls up to a gravel parking lot. In front of the parking lot is a building with bleached wood siding. Attached to the building is a circular logo that displays the Barbados flag's trident, yellow, and blue colors. The word Bajan is above the trident, and Surfboards is below the trident. There are surfboards displayed in the window showing the Bajan Surfboards logo. Art hurriedly jumps out of the car, and Sally follows. Sally: I don't understand. Why do you want to come here? Art: Come on, Mom! I gotta show you something! Interior, Surfboards day. Sally and Art enter the surf shop. Joe Montgomery is the owner of the surf shop. Joe is one of the many proud black surfers who originates from the island of Barbados. He is in his 50s with short hair and a gray beard. He is wearing a t-shirt with the Bajan Surfboards logo on it, shorts, and a pair of leather flip-flops. Joe is the most respected surfer in the area. He is a wise sage who has all the answers to the meaning of life. He is sitting on a stool behind the glass counter, which contains surfing items. Joe is reading a surfer magazine. He looks up at Sally and Art. Joe: Welcome to Bajan Surfboards. What's the word? Art, puzzled, looks at Joe and says nothing. Joe: How are you doing? What's happening? Art: Oh, I'm good. Just came in to look at the surfboards. Joe, with a fatherly glance, looks at Art as if he's talking to his own son. Joe: Weren't you in here the other day with your sister? Art: Yeah, I really want to get a surfboard. Sally looks at Art a bit surprised. With a sheepish, pleading glance, Art looks up at his mom and smiles. Art: All I want's a surfboard. I've got some money saved up. I'll work the rest off around the house. Sally: I don't know. Art: Just look at the one I picked out, please. Art, Sally, and Joe head to the back of the shop where about 25 Bajan surfboards are hanging and leaning against the walls in a rack. There are numerous photos of surfers pasted all over the walls. Art pulls out a shiny new single-fin surfboard. The price says $235. Sally: $235? Joe looks at Sally, then at Art. Joe: Have you ever surfed before? Art: No. Joe: Well, this is the top-of-the-line high-performance surfboard. It's made for the most experienced surfers only. As Joe glances at Sally. Art: Oh. Joe takes Art over to the used board section. There are a bunch of old, dinged, discolored, and abused boards. Joe pulls out a single fin from the racks. The foam is brown, and there are quite a few dings on it. Joe: This is what you need. It's more stable. You'll be able to learn faster on this board. And once you get your basics down, then come see me and get a new board. Art: Yeah, but look how beat up it is. Sally: Honey, it doesn't look all that bad. Art, looking bummed out, starts checking out the other beat-up used boards. He pulls a few of them out of the rack, but nothing interests him. Joe, who has taken a liking to Art, sizes up the situation. Joe stands there and thinks quietly for a second. Joe: Wait a minute. I've got just the board for you. Joe walks off screen into the back of his office. Sally and Art wait next to the surfboards. To pass the time, Art starts looking at the pictures on the wall. Picture number 1. Caption reads, 1975 Bajan Surf Team. It's a team photo. There are 30-plus large and small trophies laid out in front of a group of surfers. The picture looks like you just came back from a fishing trip. The entire catch is laid out in front of the surf team. But instead of fish, they are trophies. Picture number 2. A series of old yellow newspaper clippings and ripped-out pages of magazines. They are younger pictures of Joe and other black surfers when he lived in Barbados. These pictures establish Joe's credibility and history as a surfer. Each picture has a caption on them such as, Joe Montgomery, Barbados National Champ. Barbados First Surfing Laureate, Joe Montgomery. Joe Montgomery takes the surfing world by storm. the pride of Barbados, Joe Montgomery. As Art is reading the clippings, Joe comes on screen with a light blue single-fin surfboard. Joe: this is one of my team riders. He just traded it in on a new board. Joe sets the tail of the surfboard down on the carpet and holds the nose with his hand. The bottom of the board has the words Bajan Surf Team on it. Art glances back at the pictures on the wall, then at Joe. Art: I'm going to be on the surf team one day. Joe: that's the spirit. Joe spins the board around so the deck is facing Art. All of a sudden, Art's eyes light up as he recognizes the picture of the large wave airbrushed on the light blue deck. He realizes this is the same board the surfer was riding on the beach the other day. Joe: well, what do you think? Art: you'll sell me this one? Joe: sure, I'll even give you a leash and some wax with it. Sally: how much do you want for it? Joe: how about $75? Sally glances at Art's overjoyed face and grins. Sally: how much money do you have? Art: I've got $11.53. Sally: tell you what, if you help your dad with the yard work for the rest of the summer, we'll call it even. Art: I will, I promise. Thanks, Mom. Sally, Art, and Joe walk up to the counter. Art hands Sally a bunch of crumpled up bills and a handful of change. She takes the money and combines it with hers. She then gives the money to Joe. Joe hands Art 2 bars of wax and a bungee leash. Joe: you're going to make a great surfer. Art enthusiastically checks out his new surfboard. For a surfer, getting your first surfboard is a special, defining, once-in-a-lifetime moment. Joe looks at Art, grins, and shakes his head. Joe walks around the counter to the t-shirt rack. He pulls out a small t-shirt with the Bajan Surfboards logo on it. He tosses it on Art, and the t-shirt drapes his head. Art grabs it and looks at it. Joe: we have a Stokes Surfer special today. All Stokes surfers get a free t-shirt. Art: stoked? Joe: you know, happy, ecstatic, thrilled. Stoked. Art: thanks, Mr. Joe Montgomery, but everyone calls me Joe. Art: well, I'm Art, and I don't think there's anyone more stoked than me right now. Art picks up the surfboard, bungee leash, and wax. Since the board is much bigger than him, he struggles to carry it out the door. As he is walking towards the door, he drops the bars of wax from his hand, one at a time. He then drops the t-shirt. He is unable to pick them up due to the bulkiness of the surfboard. Sally picks them up behind him. Finally, the leash is the last item to drop, and he is left just carrying the surfboard out the door. Dissolve 2. End of Chapter 2. First Surfboard. This is Mark, the author of The Bond Between Surfers. I'm creating a surfing grassroots effort to make this book into a feature-length film. Help support the project by purchasing the book, ebook, or audiobook. All proceeds will go to funding the film. Then one day, you'll be sitting in the movie theater, looking up at the big screen, and you can proudly say, I bought the book and made this movie. For more info, check out my website, tbbsurf.com. Thanks for your support.